Every year, more and more land in the Sahel becomes dry, cracked, and lifeless. Crops fail, trees die, and people are forced to leave their villages in search of better land. This isn't just an environmental problem, it's a human crisis. To fight this, a bold idea was born, a huge wall of trees stretching across Africa, from Senegal in the west to Djibouti in the east. This project is called the Great Green Wall, and its goal is to stop the desert from spreading south and to bring life back to dry lands. In Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré took this idea and made it work locally. He launched a strong version of the project in his own country. 20 million trees were planted in Burkina Faso, especially in the areas hit hardest by drought and deforestation. In many parts of Burkina Faso, access to modern medical care is limited, especially in rural communities where reaching a clinic can mean walking for hours. In this situation, nature becomes the first and often the only source of healing. President Ibrahim Traoré understood that health should not be a privilege only for big cities or for those who can afford expensive medicine. That is why, in his plan to plant 20 million trees, he chose local species that not only survive in tough climates, but also offer direct health benefits to people. Trees like moringa, baobab, neem, and nere are well known in traditional medicine for their healing properties. Moringa leaves are rich in vitamins and protein and have long been used to fight malnutrition. Baobab fruit helps with digestion and boosts the immune system. Neem has antiseptic properties and is used to treat infections, while nere seeds are used both in cooking and in traditional remedies. These trees are not planted randomly. Each one has a clear role in the local ecosystem and in the daily lives of people. They help reduce the need for expensive imported medicine and turn yards and gardens into real natural pharmacies. At first glance, planting trees might seem like a symbolic gesture or a volunteer activity with no real impact. But in Burkina Faso, this initiative has become one of the most important sources of jobs and economic growth, especially in rural areas where work opportunities are limited or unequal. The campaign to plant 20 million trees now involves thousands of people working in various roles, from seed collectors and nursery workers to tree planters, caretakers, and water resource managers. But the work doesn't stop after the trees are planted. Around these trees, a real green industry has started to grow. Women in villages have formed cooperatives that produce shea butter, moringa powder, and baobab oil. These products have nutritional, healing, and cosmetic value, and they are in demand both locally and internationally. Young entrepreneurs are also helping by creating mobile apps that monitor tree growth, carbon capture levels, and soil health. These trees were planted not by outside companies, but by over 1 million citizens directly involved. Students, soldiers, farmers, community forest workers. In many villages, this was the first large-scale civic collaboration in decades. On the economic side, the project has already created about 40,000 jobs, more than 60% of which are held by women. People who were once excluded, forgotten, or forced to leave in search of a better life are now building their own economy. For many, it is the first time they earn a steady income, feel in control of local resources, and believe they can build a future in their own village. While Burkina Faso plants trees, the rest of the world is starting to take notice. International media is writing positive articles, and climate organizations and UN agencies are praising the effort as a model of good practice, an example to follow in the fight against climate change. Experts from around the world are visiting, curious to understand how it was possible to plant 20 million trees with such limited resources but with such strong local involvement. For Burkina Faso, this recognition is welcome, but it is not the main goal. The campaign was not started for applause or outside validation. It came from a deep need to save the land, to give people back their dignity, and to show that real solutions can come from within a community, not from outside. President Ibrahim Traoré did not launch this project to impress international donors or to attract foreign funding. He did it because the land was degrading, because people were losing hope, and because the future could no longer wait. Aiming to plant 5 million trees in a single hour, the event mobilized tens of thousands of volunteers, public institutions, international organizations, and schools from all corners of the country. It was more than a symbolic event. It was a demonstration of national unity in the face of the climate crisis and a reaffirmation of the belief that health and nature are deeply connected. A year earlier, in 2024, another national reforestation campaign took place, targeting the planting of over 6 million trees across 120 hectares. Planting 20 million trees was a huge step for Burkina Faso, but for President Ibrahim Traoré, this is only the beginning. The next goal is even more ambitious, planting 100 million trees by the year 2030. This is not just a big number. It is a clear plan for ecological, economic, and cultural transformation. The aim is not only to stop the desert from spreading, but to turn Burkina Faso into a symbol of renewal and a regional leader in green economy and environmental efforts. This green revival does not stop at Burkina Faso's borders. Traoré has started talks with leaders from Mali, Niger, and Ghana to build a regional ecological alliance. The idea is simple and powerful. If neighboring countries work together, they can create green corridors across entire regions, protect shared ecosystems, and build a strong network to resist the effects of the climate crisis. In this way, beyond national borders, a new kind of African solidarity is taking shape, one built not on exploited resources, but on restored nature. Burkina Faso shows the whole world that regeneration begins with a simple act and a brave choice. Not to run away from your land, but to come back to it, to love it, heal it, and leave it better than you found it.